Hi, my name is Cindy Smith at cindysmithphotography.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own personalized greeting cards. Some of you may wonder why you would want to make your own greeting cards from your own photographs. There are many reasons for this. One, it could serve as promotional material. You can hand them out at fairs. You can send them to customers. You can also just send them to friends as reminders. I have been at art shows and have seen many people offering greeting cards as an addition to their other stock. The reason for that, I assume, is that many people might want to support you and support your artwork, but they either can't afford a piece of your artwork or don't have a place in their house that will fit or accommodate one of your art pieces. So this is a way for them to support you as well. So not only do greeting cards give customers a way to support you, but they give yourself a way to advertise to customers as well. The cards that I end up using are these Museo inkjet artist cards. If you look at them, the site that I am on right now is bnhphoto.com, but you can also get them through Amazon. You realize that they can go horizontal or vertical. These particular cards come in sets of 100 cards with the envelopes included. If you look at the specs on the cards, it will tell you that, that they're sort of an eggshell color, which basically means that they're a matte finish. The thickness is a 14 mil, which is a really nice sturdy card. And the size, when it's out flat, which is what we're going to be using to create the card, is 9 inches long by, I'm going to round it off to 5 and 3/4 wide. You can also, if this size does not suit your design abilities or your design techniques, you can also use the large cards. You can make square cards. You can use panoramics. For years, I did just the 100 cards and the envelopes. What I found was that I ended up having more envelopes accumulating than I did cards. The reason being that I would often print out many cards, and often I would have to tweak the card to get it just the way I wanted, either increase the brightness, or some cards that I thought would translate into cards, or some images that I thought would translate into cards just didn't work as well as I wanted. So I ended up having an excess of envelopes. So if, after you've done this for a while or a few years, or if it fits your budget, the easiest way to find this option is to go down here, and we're going to go over a few steps, and you're going to see that that the artist greeting cards, the small as well as the large, and any of the panoramics that you may choose, can come in sizes of 1,000. And if you click on that, you can see that it's a substantial investment. If I click on that, you will also see below that you can then get the envelopes separately. So you buy 1,000 cards, which you will go through much faster than the envelopes, and then you can buy the envelopes as well. Like I said, it's a substantial outlay. As you can see, $355 for the cards, and another $225 or $223 for the envelopes. But in the long run, your cost per card will go down, and you can have them around for a long time. That's assuming that this is something that you want to get into. Okay, so first things first, this is the card that we're going to end up creating today. I'll close that out. And the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to hide my guides, is we're going to create a card that is 5 3/4 by 9 inches. We can just make sure that that's absolutely right by going up to image size. We have 5 3/4 wide by 9 inches. This is our blank canvas, And you can see that I've added some guides. The guides will become obvious as we start to lay our images in there. I'm going to clear the guides. We're going to clear the guides and we're going to start all over. The first thing you want to do is you want to come up to the top and you want to drag a guide out to the halfway point to 4.5 inches. That is the center of our card. The next thing I noticed is that when I folded the cards to get an even border, I needed to create a space at the top. I did not want my image to come directly to the halfway fold because when they're printed, it leaves a little border, so I wanted a border all the way around my cards. The next thing I did is I bring down another guide at the halfway point, which is going to line up the logo that we will also create. And then I bring down another guide to the 3-inch mark, and this is just for the text information that we end up putting in. And this is for the 3.5-inch mark. Okay, so those are our guides. And then we also want to bring out a guide to the halfway point just for lining up text. And that's going to be at the 2 7/8 mark. So there are guides that are going to lay in all of our information. The next thing I did is I created a logo, which is, this is the front side of the card right here. This is going to be the back side. And I wanted to have my logo as advertisement on the back side. So I created this logo right here, which has what is my business card, the information, and then my website. Whoops, which I would need to correct right there. So we'll correct that right now. And we'll highlight that. Okay. There you go. And we're going to move that over into place. So we're going to line that up. Okay. All right, so we have our business card logo that we're going to put on the back of our card. Now, what I've done to create this logo is I've taken a photograph and I've turned it into an illustration. And if you want to see how I did that, you can go to my website, cindysmithphotography.com, go to tutorials, and if you scroll down, you will see that I created a tutorial called using Photoshop to create an illustration. And from there you can scroll down, and here's a video tutorial that also appears on YouTube. So there's a tutorial on how I created images like this. So in this for this tutorial, or for this logo, I put my name. I added a little bit of a bevel and emboss, a little bit of a drop shadow. My font for this, make sure I'm on the text tool. My font for this was Sago Print Regular. Okay, and then for photography, I changed the font to Sago Ultralight, and I also changed the color, which is in this swatch up here, and you can move that around. I just decided not to have all black. I also spread out the text right there, and what you can do here is if you highlight it and then you do the Alt and right arrow bracket, you can spread out your text just to give sort of a more dynamic look to your image. Also, here is the my website, and what we've done with all of these layers is I've merged them basically into a flattened layer, and the way to do that is to hold down all of your modifier keys, Shift, Alt, Control, and E to merge them into a flattened layer, and that way I can move it over into my blank canvas. So why don't we do that at this point? What I've also done with this image, because we're going to be scaling it to different sizes to get to fit, and if you have different size cards, you would definitely want to do this, is I created a smart object. So I right-clicked and I converted it to a smart object. which you can tell has this little icon in here right there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Loon logo and I'm going to drag it into my tutorial blank canvas. Okay, not happening. Okay, so if it doesn't happen like that, what you can do is do Window, Arrange, and 2-up vertical. Okay, and we're going to take it and just drag it over here. Okay, so now that we can actually close down this image right here, and we have the logo, which I'm actually going to label logo, on this layer. Now we can scale this logo because it's still a smart object, and when you have a smart object, you can scale without getting pixelization or losing any image quality. So I'm going to scale this, and I'm also going to rotate it because this is going to be the back side of the card. Now at this point, it's hard for us to tell the size, location, and such that we want this logo to be in. I'm just going to press the Enter key, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate the card around. I'm just going to hold down the R key. You'll get this rotation symbol, and I'm going to rotate it around so that I can make sure that my placement and logo is the size that I want. To make sure that you can do that, I'm on a PC, but if you want to on a Mac, you go under File, but under PC you go to Edit, you go down to Preferences, and you go down to Performance. And make sure that this Use Graphic Processor is checked, and that will activate the Rotate tool. Now this is still a little large and not in the place that I wanted, so I'm going to do Control T for Free Transformer again. I'm going to hold down my Shift key to constrain it because I want the logo to be prominent, but I don't want it to be obnoxious and overpower the card. So I think that'll look about right. Okay, and then I'm going to do R again to rotate this back to the front side of the card. Now I'm going to go out to Lightroom. I'm going to grab the image that I'm going to work with. I'm going to use this image that I took in Joshua Tree National Forest in California. I'm going to right click. I'm going to say Edit in Photoshop. I'm going to say Edit in Original, and I'll just show you why. I'll do that in a minute. Okay, and the reason I'm going to do that is I'm not going to work with my original image. We're going to duplicate it, image, duplicate image. I'll just call it second, just to make sure. And I'm going to close this one down. So now we have this image. Once again, I'm going to right click on it and change it to a smart object. So that once again, we're going to be able to scale it to the size that we need. And it's working, as you can see. Okay, so now we have a smart object. And now I'm going to change the image size of this image. You can see that it's a full scale image. I was shooting with a Nikon D810, so a quite large file. And I'm going to give myself some wiggle room here, but I'm going to basically scale it down to about 6 by 4. And that way it'll fit on the front side of the card. Each image fits a little bit differently on each side of the card. So I'm going to Control 0 just to bring it back up again. Each image fits a little bit differently, and you have to do a little bit of cropping sometimes to get the image that you want. Okay, so now I'm going to take this image, this smart object image, and I'm going to drag it over to the tutorial. Oh, not doing it again, so let's try that. Arrange, 2-up vertical, and we're going to drag it in here. Okay. All right, I can close this image out, and no, I don't need to save the changes. And now we have a smart object, which is the image itself. I'm going to do Control T to free transform it. And first of all, I'm just going to move it into place. Now you can see that I have a lot of space around here. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to drag out my image and get a border that I like. You can see that when I hit just this little 1/8 inch mark right here for the fold, it turns red, which means I'm right on the guide itself. So the image ends up being a little bit larger than the frame itself, And you can move your composition accordingly to get what you like. And once you do, okay, we'll just press return or enter. So there's our image. That's our photo. Now, once again, I'm going to come around. I'm going to rotate. Just use the R key to rotate. And we're going to add some text to this. So I'm going to hit the text tool. I'm going to come in here. You can play with the size and font. We'll have to play with that in a minute. But let's just say, whoops. Okay. And okay. Had to just pause the video there for a minute. So what happened on that is I rotated it around and was going to add text. And drag these over. And what happened is the text, first of all, I'm going to set the text back to default black. Just drag it all the way down. Okay, up in the bar there. The text started coming in upside down. That's not going to work for us. So we're going to do a workaround for that if you come across this problem yourself. I'm going to rotate it back so that we're typing right side up as far as the image goes. We're going to get the text tool. I'm going to type in Hidden Valley Sunset. I'm going to press Control and Enter. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this now because it's going to be the wrong direction or upside down when we flip this around. I'm going to add a new text layer, and I'm going to say Joshua Tree National Park. Okay, I'm going to bring this over. Edit Park. And say Park, and I'm going to move this down to here. But once we flip it, it won't matter. Okay, and I'm going to press Control and Enter. So now we're going to once again hold down the key, come around, and our images are upside down because if you're on the back side of the card, you would want to be able to read this. So when I'm on the Joshua Tree image, I'm going to highlight the image, and I'm going to hold down the Control key, and you get this little box around it, kind of like a free transform box. And I'm going to flip it around. And then I'm going to move this into place. Now the Joshua Tree I want down at the bottom here. And centered. Okay. I'm going to press Control and Enter. I'm going to get the Hidden Valley. I'm going to hold down the Control key again. Highlight Hidden Valley. Whoops. Escape. Hold down Hidden Valley. Hold down the Control key again. Rotate it around. Okay, move it into place. Okay, press Enter. Joshua Tree, and once again I'm going to move it. Now you see you have a square box here which would enter new text, but as I get it becomes a single bar, and then I can move this down into place. Now if I want to change the fonts, let's say I want to make Hidden Valley just a little bit smaller. Let's make this 11 points. Okay. All right, and then Joshua Tree. I'm going to do R again, rotate this around, image, and then we are ready to save our image. Now what I would do with this image is I would save it out as a template. That way, when you come back, your logo will be something that you save. Your text will stay in place, and you'll just change your image to a new image. Now, what will happen is these two texts will stay the same, but when you go to edit the text, they will change. Even though they might say the same thing over here in the Layers menu, they will change with each card. And then once I've created a new card, I will save it out. I will save it out as my original card, and I would probably call this Hidden Valley. So once again, I will save the first one. The first time I make it, I would save it as a template and save it in a folder and just call it template. And then the next time that you make another image, all you have to do is come over here, drag the image to the trash, and then put another smart object image in place. You can rotate it and then replace the image as you see fit. And once they're in place, once we had to do that little workaround, everything comes back in Joshua Tree sunset. Everything will come back in the right order that you want it. So we're going to escape that and change it back. We'll change it back to Hidden Valley. Center it again, enter, and there we have our completed card. So once again, it was a little bit of a workaround to get your text in place, but once you do, you can print out all of these cards on your own inkjet printer. Many people I talk to at crafts fairs send theirs out to printers. I've printed tons of cards, but I guess I don't print them in enough volume that I have sent them out to a printer. So I end up printing all of my cards themselves. The one last thing that I have noticed with all of my images right here is I'm going to add a brightness and contrast layer. And this is an Epson 3800 printer that I am printing on. And I ended up finding that I need a brightness contrast layer just to compensate for my printer. So once again, when you go to print it, you should go out. If I go File, Print, okay, I need to go over to this is the Epson 3800. It's set up correctly. Photoshop manages colors, and I have the printer profile, as you will see, is the Museo Artist Cards 3800. So you will need to go out to the Epson site, to the Museo site, and get their what's called ICC profiles. And if you set that up, you will see here that I've got it set up in the profile so that I can automatically access it. So you will want to get the ICC profile so that it prints to the matte format for your card. That was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to come out, but thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a fun time printing cards. And once again, if you need to see a copy of this tutorial, you can also visit my website at cindysmithphotography.com. Thanks a lot, and bye.